Hi, good evening, all.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the UWI St. Augustine's virtual meeting with the graduating class of 2020. I am Winel Gregorio, the Director of Marketing and Communications here at the St. Augustine campus, and I will be the moderator for proceedings. Thank you all for joining us. Firstly, I'd like to give my congratulations to all of you. Becoming a UWI St. Augustine graduate is an amazing accomplishment. So I ask my university colleagues joining me this evening to turn on their microphones and join me in giving you a round of applause. Colleagues? Since our inception 60 years ago, graduation has always been a tremendous milestone for all our students and the wider community of alumni, family, and friends. Graduation 2020 will be no exception, which is why this meeting was called. Now, I know that some of you are quite happy that the graduation ceremonies are virtual, as there is reduced cost and there's an opportunity for a different type of family experience. In fact, just earlier today, we were tagged by a very ecstatic graduate whose post on social media hailed the 2 G's for his success: God and grind. And he showed off his black and white suit after his photo shoot, looking really, really happy. On the other hand, our campus management team noted the many questions and concerns that the graduating class has outpoured on social media, through the guild, and via email. And this evening, there's an opportunity to address them. As the country and the wider world continues to deal with the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, the wider St. Augustine family is not immune, and we note that we are committed to continue to do our part to ensure the health and the well-being of our students and staff first and foremost. We truly hope that you and your loved ones are staying safe and following the guidelines. We also take special note that as a regional and international institution, many of our graduates are joining us from outside of Trinidad and Tobago, and your specific concerns have also been taken into consideration and will be discussed this evening. So please share with us where you're joining us from in our chat, and I'll share a little bit more about the chat rules in a bit. So here's what you can expect from this evening's meeting. We will begin with welcome remarks from our campus registrar, Dr. Dawn Marie DeFugil, followed by a presentation detailing the virtual graduation process by Assistant Registrar, Mrs. Nadia Thomas-Elaine. But this evening we are also joined by, and I'm trying to switch to the other screen, we're joined by our campus principal, Professor Brian Copeland, our deputy principal, Professor Inda Ramnarain. Deputy Principal, I don't know if you want to give us a little wave. Are you there? Lovely background. I think he's trying to put on his mic. And we have our campus buzzer, Mrs. Andrea Taylor Hanna, with us. Hello, buzzer. We have our campus librarian, Mr. Frank Sudin.
Good afternoon. Congratulations.
We're getting a little peek inside all of senior management's spaces. We have the head of the Division of Student Services and Development, Dr. Deirdre Charles.
Hi, students. Congratulations. Good evening.
We have with us the head of the Department of Preclinical Sciences, Professor Christine Carrington, with us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and good evening, everyone, and congratulations to all of you.
We have with us our manager of OSH, Mr. Rajesh Kandai.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations.
And we have with us our guild president, Mr. Warren Anderson. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
I see the principal joining us. So I don't know, principal, if you want to give a little hail out, a little wave, and hello.
I give my traditional wave. Congratulations to everybody and all the best.
All right, so you've seen that we have our senior management supporting, and we will have, as I mentioned, presentations from the campus registrar as well as the AR for exams. Then we will have a question and answer segment, which includes the questions that you would have submitted via email. We have allotted a large portion of the meeting for this segment because we know there are many questions. Now, in our YouTube chat, we have a chat moderator who will be taking note of the questions and comments received, and they'll be shared with our team. Please remember to identify your level, whether certificate, undergraduate, postgraduate, as well as your faculty when asking questions. Our chat moderator will also be sharing graduation-related links and other relevant information that you may want to know. So please keep reading the chat. You may want to copy and paste the links to keep them. So I ask for your patience in advance because we're in a virtual format, and in case we run into any difficulties technically, please bear with us. And I think we can jump right into it. To start us off, I invite our campus registrar, who has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure all the details are well in place for graduation. Dr. Dawn Marie DeFugil, we welcome you to the virtual stage. Dr. Gill?
Thank you, Winell, and let me add my own voice of congratulations to graduates, and thank you for joining us. I hear that we have persons from throughout the Caribbean on with us tonight, and we hope that we can, properly address some of the concerns that that have been raised over the last week or so. So let me again say good evening to graduates. I'd like to welcome you to this evening's virtual meeting and thank you again for taking time to join us. We have seen your concerns and comments, and we want you to know that we are disappointed as well. We are very disappointed that we're not able to welcome you to our graduation at a physical ceremony on our beloved campus with all your friends and family present. You've worked extremely hard to reach this part of your journey, and you rightfully deserve to celebrate this achievement. It's a major milestone in your life, and you deserve to savor this moment. I'm sure that I speak for all my university colleagues joining me today in saying that we all remember something about our graduations, but I can only describe yours as truly, truly distinctive. You've made it through a semester with challenges and changes that we've never could have imagined in light of the pandemic. I want to recognize each and every one of you for your patience, your sheer resilience, your willingness to be flexible, and your commitment to completing your studies. You made the very best of the unexpected, and this is exemplary. The decision to have your graduation ceremonies be a virtual one was not one that was taken lightly. The start of the global pandemic, COVID-19, since the start of the global pandemic, COVID-19, all our campuses have been planning, revising, and adjusting the framework that could afford the 2020 graduates a safe ceremony. And your safety is and continues to remain our highest priority. It has been 9 months since the start of the pandemic, and every decision that the UWI has made has been geared towards ensuring the health and safety of our students. We are also guided by national protocols, which at this time only allows for limited gatherings with physical distancing. This is why across all UWI 17 countries, the UWI continues to work towards successfully executing your virtual graduation ceremonies. We are also mindful of the guidance from the experts. What we also know now is all over the US and the UK, the cases are on the rise. We have to be mindful of these realities as we plan for the near future. As we've shared with you via email, we have adjusted the initial arrangements for the ceremonies based on your feedback, and we want to take the opportunity to clarify and to discuss these changes more with you at this evening's meeting. Come January 2021, you will be participating in the first completely virtual graduation ceremonies that the UWI and our campus has ever done. A reality that the graduates of our ancestor school, the Imperial College of Tropical Agriculture, could never envision. Thanks to the UWI continued focus on digital transformation, your 2020 graduation ceremonies will, in fact, take place. This is doubly significant because your ceremonies are a huge part of the UWI St. Augustine's 60th anniversary celebrations, and celebrate we will. You will be making history And while we are separated during this momentous occasion, the spirit of community shines brighter than ever. We are working with UWI partners from across the globe to ensure that you have a virtual graduation ceremony with the solemnity, pomp, and circumstance that will commemorate your new role as a distinguished UWI graduate. At this meeting, we will share with you the virtual graduation process, as well as address some of your questions and concerns. We ask that you be respectful throughout tonight's meeting when sharing your comments and questions. Before I hand over to our moderator, Mrs. Gregorio, I wanted to ask Professor Christine Carrington to say just a few words on why it is we chose as an institution to go this route. As I said, our decision was based on the science of the situation, of the research we've been doing, where we are as a country and what is happening globally. Professor Carrington.
Hi, good day, everyone. So I just want to first, again, congratulate all of you all and to say how sorry I am that I won't be taking part in a face-to-face graduation this year. Some of you may know me as the orator, the public orator. I'm usually at all of the graduations and I enjoy seeing all of you cross the stage. This is a very unusual time, and as the registrar has indicated, all of the things that have been put in place for this graduation are with your safety and the safety of your families in mind, and also the safety of everyone else in Trinidad and Tobago. As we all know, the COVID-19 is caused by the SARS coronavirus type 2, and that virus is spread from person to person by close physical contact. It's spread by aerosol mainly. And close contact with anyone else for 15 minutes or more within less than 6 feet is considered extremely high risk. Whether you have a mask or not on, it is not something that you want to promote. It's important to note that Trinidad and Tobago is still currently classified as having community transmission. So that means that there are cases out there where we don't have little clusters of contained cases of COVID-19. We know how many, we have a number of reported cases. We have 656 active cases that are known in the country, but with any infectious disease, you don't capture all of the cases through your reporting system. So there are bound to be others that we don't know about either. So we still have community spread. Compared to a country like Barbados, where they have at the moment 12 active cases. It's a very different scenario. We're in a very good position and things are getting better, but we have no idea, we have no way of knowing where we're going to be in January. So with safety in mind, it is really crucial that we do everything we can to abide by what we know are the right protocols, the new normal protocols for operating in COVID-19 environment, and also to be compliant with the regulations and the restrictions that come from the Ministry of Health. I am myself, I'm concerned that at Christmas time, there's been relaxing of the regulations. I think that's appropriate, but we're going into Christmas and we don't know how people are going to behave. It's going to be very hard not to be around your families. People will probably want to be in larger groups. And we don't know 2 weeks after that what situation we're going to be in. So I just want to reiterate the fact that this is really, it's a shame, but it's really the way we have to go given the situation that we're in.
Thank you, Professor Carrington, and thank you to the campus registrar for setting the context for us this evening. Now we transition. In the trenches, crossing the I's and dotting the T's is our assistant registrar for examinations. And so I now invite AR Nadia Thomas-Alain to give us a full breakdown of the virtual graduation process.
Thank you, Manal, and hello graduates, and good evening to all present. Let me start again by saying a very sincere and heartfelt congratulations to all of you and to your families and friends who have journeyed with you to this very special moment. I want to share with you this evening some information which some of you would have already received. I will focus on the steps to apply to participate in a virtual graduation ceremony, the format of your virtual procession, the UWI Photo Center, arrangements for regional and international students, rental of academic regalia, and receiving your certificate. With respect to applying to participate in a virtual graduation ceremony, once you have been awarded, and to date we have 2,760 persons who have been awarded at the St. Augustine campus, you would receive a communique via email from Marketing and Communications on behalf of the examination section. This correspondence provides information about updating your contact information, a step-by-step guide on how to apply to participate in your graduation ceremony, your graduation attire, information about the photo center, and the COVID-19 health protocols that are in place at the photo center. After you receive this communique, you may proceed to apply to participate in the graduation ceremony by following the step-by-step guide. Remember, you must be awarded and you must be in good financial standing with the UWI to apply to participate in the graduation ceremony. I know that some persons have contacted us to say that they were awarded, but they did not receive this communique from Marketing and Communications. This is largely due to the fact that their contact information in our database was outdated. If you were awarded and you did not receive this email, please email us at graduation@sta.uwi.edu and we would be happy to assist you. When you apply to participate in the ceremony, you would then receive additional information via email from the examination section. This second letter provides information on your academic regalia and a link to what your academic regalia would look like. Instructions on accessing and completing a graduation information collection form. We need this information to communicate with the photographer to have all suitable arrangements in place for you. You will also receive in this communique information on booking your photography session and a link to a self-screening COVID-19 tool. With respect to the format of your virtual procession, you would have heard us talk about the virtual graduation ceremony and photos. As you are aware, our graduating cohort of 2019-2020 shall attend a virtual graduation ceremony. Your procession or presentation at this ceremony would take place virtually, where your photo would appear on screen and your name would be called at the appropriate time during the graduation ceremony. In order to accomplish this, your digital photo must be taken. This is where our photo center comes in. We have also arranged for you to use the graduation gown to take your digital photo. You would also receive your scroll or canister at the photo center, as well as have the opportunity to interact with a vendor who supplies UWI rings, if you are so inclined. We have been paying close attention to your concerns about the photo center and the rental of academic regalia. We made adjustments to some of our arrangements to support you more at this time. The photo center is now open until 5 p.m. daily. The photography period has been extended to Friday, the 27th of November, 2020, as opposed to ending on November the 21st. Students would continue to be able to view the photos taken. We would be renting academic regalia in January after the graduation ceremonies, when we hope to have a much safer environment. We plan to also have a setup where you can take your graduation photos at that time. Arrangements for our Tobagonian, regional, and international students. We really don't want you to think that we have forgotten you at all. Much discussion and planning went into making arrangements across the region to accommodate you. So we ask you to please send us an email again at graduation@sta.uwi.edu so that we may share the details of these arrangements for your particular circumstance. We will connect with our colleagues at our sister campuses to ensure that your needs are met. We have already started serving 7 graduates from Tobago and 175 regional graduates. So please connect with us via email so that we may continue to assist you. We have also been servicing requests for certificates by partnering with TT Post to deliver your certificates safely to you. So again, we ask that you email us, but this time at exams with an S, at sta.uwi.edu so that we can share the detailed instructions regarding the service. For persons who completed their degree in the summer session of 2019-2020, we note that we started dispatching certificates at the start of November. So I thank you for listening, and please remember we are here to support you. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Mrs. Thomas Elaine, and I want to echo that there were a number of adjustments that were made. So I hope our students were able to take note of them. I know we are clarifying the email addresses, and we will be posting them in the chat so that you can take note of them in case you missed them when she was presenting. So we'll now be addressing your questions in the Q&A segment of this evening's program. We acknowledge the role of the Guild of Students in student government, and we acknowledge that they have been very involved in the graduation planning. So to start off the question segment, perhaps Mr. Anderson can pose the first question to our administrators. Mr. Anderson?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Gregorio. And I'd like to say once again, congratulations to all the graduates, those present here domestically and those who are not within the territory, regional and internationally. And so for the first question, one of the most heated questions that came from within our graduate population is, we understand that the COVID-19 restrictions are limiting us from having our usual graduation experience, but why can't we have some semblance of a physical grad? Why can't we cross the stage or have some limited experience where we can receive our certificate and do something simple with the members of our family? This question has been extended into, by those who have visited the site, why can't I, just as I'm taking my photograph here with PIPS, with the setup at SPEC, why can't I simply have something in front of me here where I could take photos by myself, and that could replace the physical thing? Similar format, same amount of time, a limited amount of photos. So the question again, just to restate, why can't we have some form of physical grad where we can cross the stage and do a limited interaction?
Okay, thank you for that. And Campus Registrar, I know you may want to start by giving the overall answer for that, and then we could possibly get into the specifics.
Okay, yes, thank you, Mrs. Gregorio. So you would have heard graduates that the decision to have a virtual experience was not taken lightly. We had a lot of persons, we consulted, we have a group, a COVID task force that is dealing with the issue of COVID and the pandemic on a Caribbean-wide basis. Professor Carrington would have spoken just now about the issues of having even the minimum physical interaction. And I will ask her to do so in a little bit again, just to re-emphasize and to probably just, drive home the point in terms of the risk that is involved and the fact that we need to work within the national guidelines. And as responsible citizens and responsible graduates, I know that you all would want us to actually, take into consideration the safety of not only the students, their families, but also our staff in terms of any decisions that we are making. And so bearing that in mind, and then just to touch on the question that you appended just now, what we've decided to do is that in just after the graduation ceremony next year, we would make arrangements to have a facility for the students, for you, the graduating class, to rent your gowns for a period of 2 weeks so that you would be able to take them away and have photo sessions with your friends and family and return. And we're going to do this again in a very, very controlled way. At this point in time, we have not set up that facility. It's not as simple as just allowing the gowns to be taken away because the photos are being taken. You would, for those who would have already taken their photographs, you all would have realized it's a very tight 5-minute turnaround session. And so, you know, we want to, and we have a very tight deadline in terms of completing that. So as I said, next year, just after graduation, we'll be making arrangements to have an extended period available for persons to rent the gowns and have access to them to take photographs with their friends and family and return. May I ask Christine Carrington, Professor Carrington, to just speak briefly again about why a physical interaction is not possible at this point in time.
Okay, so just to come back to the point about the way that this virus is spread. The virus is spread by aerosol, and it is spread by, and it is transmitted between people who are in close contact. This is why we have these restrictions on the size of gatherings. I know that you all have said that, you know, okay, we're coming and we're taking our photographs. Why can't 300 of us come and take our photographs one after the other? I'm sure you would appreciate that, you know, controlling a group of 300 is not the same as controlling a much smaller group. We also have to bear in mind the restrictions, the public health restrictions, which are in fact law. Those will dictate how many people can gather. And also, even if you decide that you have 300 students coming in one after the other, spaced apart and everything, the people who have to interact with you in the room, they are there all day. So their exposure is 300 times what yours is going to be. So we really have to think about all sides of the issue. There are very sound reasons for why we limit the size of interactions. And up to now, I think the highest number we have gone to in Trinidad is 25, groups of 25. We don't know what's going to happen in January. We can't predict. And even if, you know, schools reopen, even if there's further relaxation, I very highly doubt that it would be appropriate to have that large number of people come together. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. And as a follow-on, I want to call on Mr. Kandai, who is the manager of OSH at the campus. I know it's not, we want to have a rich student experience for graduation, but it's also about looking at the volume, the protocols, the safety, and managing risk. So I want to ask you to share a little bit more about the risk and how we manage it.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So Professor Carrington and Registrar has already highlighted the key points. What we have been doing is taking a risk-based approach to managing this situation for our campus. We have to consider all of our stakeholders, and as Professor Carrington would have said, we have to consider our staff, our students, the family members who people would have wanted to be on site with them as well. One of the things that we attempted to do, and we have been doing continuously, is looking at various scenarios. So we have been trying to anticipate what's going to happen, determine the possible outcomes, and plan according to that. So based on our risk analysis and scenarios that we've looked at, some of the ideas that would have come to us are possible and some are not. the key thing for us really is the fact that we are going into this Christmas season, and the relaxation of the public health measures can result in some significant changes come January. So we are looking at a scenario where we can have a national situation being much better, or it could be much worse. And our planning has to take that into consideration. And at the end of the day, as a campus, we have to be seen and we have to do the right things and demonstrate what a responsible organization has to be like. Um, so the proposals that we've put forward, based on what we know right now, are the most reasonable proposals that would satisfy the risk management that we need to do right now. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. I want to call now on our AR exams. We have a question in the chat around canisters specifically. And the person is asking, if we don't take the photo, can we still receive the canister/scroll? And the question is also around the pickup by PIPs. And if someone who is not utilizing the PIP service, what will be the arrangement for the canisters? AR exams, are you able to answer that?
Sure, yes. So we understand that some persons will opt not to do the photo and not attend. So when we are distributing the gowns next year, we will also be distributing scrolls as well as the graduation books and any memorabilia, other memorabilia at that time. If those persons also would opt not to rent the gowns, and we can make other arrangements to have the scrolls mailed out to you. So yes, we will be making arrangements to satisfy all of our graduates.
So for someone not utilizing the PIP service, they should stay tuned to hear what the next step is. Is that what we're advising?
Yes. When we will give further information regarding the distribution of gowns in January, and at that distribution point, we will also be distributing canisters to those persons who did not attend the photo sessions, and we will also be giving out some other memorabilia at the distribution of gowns. But I'm saying, Winell, and graduates, that for persons who opt not to rent the gown later on in January and did not do the photo, did not attend the photo center, we will make other arrangements to have their scrolls mailed to them. Yeah?
So not to worry, no one left behind is the message.
Not at all, not at all. Thank you, yes.
All right, don't go too far because we have a call to clarify the process for regional and international graduates. They are calling to hear the process, and if you can give examples, like walk through the process with an example, please.
Sure, no problem. So we have students who are living in Trinidad, for example. So I'll explain through providing examples. We have students who are living in Trinidad, but they were awarded at the Mona campus, let's say. And therefore, they will be attending the graduation ceremony at the Mona campus, the virtual ceremony at the Mona campus. However, they are here in Trinidad and they need their photo to be taken. So such a graduate has to apply to their awarding campus. So this person will apply to the Mona campus, and the Mona campus will put those students on a list and send that list to the St. Augustine campus. We need this list from the Mona campus because this verifies that the graduate has completed, was awarded, and eligible to graduate. And once we receive that information and the verification that they are eligible to graduate, we will then get in contact. The examination section at St. Augustine will get in contact with those students who are graduating from Mona campus but need their photo taken here. And we will provide the information on how they should go about booking their appointments and so, and we will facilitate them at the photo center. What then happens is that the digital photo will be sent over to Mona campus, to the production team there, and so that it can be included in the virtual ceremony at the Mona campus. And vice versa, if we have a student who is in Jamaica and graduating at the St. Augustine campus. Such a student should write to the St. Augustine campus. We are the awarding campus, and we will provide the information, a list verifying the award to our colleagues at the Mona campus, and they will then get in touch with the graduates and supply the information in terms of having the photo taken. Now, we also have situations where students are not at any landed campus with academic regalia, with a photo center. For these persons, we will want to treat with them on a case-by-case basis and ask them to send in a photo to the awarding campus so that we can still process you to graduate. We have instances where at the KFL campus, we have students who are being awarded at the KFL campus. KFL, for those of you who may know or may not know, they are having a physical ceremony. And in that regard, if there is a student who has been awarded at KFL, but let's say they are here in Trinidad and cannot attend the physical ceremony, the arrangement that is in place there is that we will provide information to them to participate in the open campuses virtual ceremony. Again, the starting point for all of our graduates who are experiencing these different circumstances, you are to start the process by emailing your awarding campus, and we will guide you forward on your participation in your graduation ceremony.
So for any concern, email your awarding campus and we will take it from there. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So Registrar, I want to call on you next. We have several, not comments, but questions, several calls for a deferral of graduation. Can you give us some information on the decision making? I know it was discussed at our meetings. Can you share with our audience?
Sure, Winal. So as we would all know, and I know the GIL, because Mr. Anderson could also attest to this, the GIL is also very intimate part of our graduation planning committee. And you would recognize and appreciate the fact that graduation, planning of physical graduation is takes up over several months of time and meetings and putting all the resources in place. As we all appreciate, the resources are finite. They're not infinite. Both physical, both financial, human resources. They're really, and even during, and more so during this time, where we have to be very careful in terms of how we manage our manage expectations and manage the use of resources. The thought or the expectation of having 12 graduation ceremonies in 1 month is unrealistic. And that is exactly what it will mean if we defer graduation to October. It will also mean that we are not sure exactly what the national situation will be like. My understanding and my reading, and Professor Carrington could correct me, is that we're still in the first wave. And if we look at what is happening internationally, where countries have gone back into lockdown, and their second wave is even more aggressive and has hit the country, even harder. So if we were to defer graduation to October, where we have 6 graduation ceremonies already, 3,000 graduates, we'd have the same amount of graduates, and we would have to have 12 physical ceremonies. And that would also be depending on the national situation, depending on what the laws of the land are saying. And so it was a decision that was taken across the campuses that we will not defer. We would have the virtual ceremony in January, because again, there's the uncertainty, there's the fact that we can't, that resources across the board are fixed. And that if in our case, if you're looking at having physical graduations, if the uncertainty if it becomes more certain, you're talking about having 12 graduation ceremonies. Again, something that is very unrealistic. Yeah.
Thank you, Registrar. And I just want to echo that we did exhaust all the possibilities in the meetings, even across the campuses. We really looked at all the angles and all the possibilities based on the resources. I want to go back to our AR exams because I understand that we have a call for more specificity, Nadia. I acknowledge our students or graduates from Guyana who are logged on and who are calling for specific walkthrough again of these questions. Will my scroll and certificate be mailed? And how will I participate in the ceremony? Will my name be called specifically?
Thank you. Yes, so our students in Guyana, depending on where you are graduating from. So if you are a St. Augustine student, but you are in Guyana, if you're a Mona student and you're in Guyana, if you're an open campus student and in Guyana, we are exploring if there's an open campus site, photo center there, you will have your gown and you will have your photo taken. That digital photo will be sent to your awarding campus. And so you will be included in the virtual graduation ceremony. If there's no site there, for you to have access to your academic regalia and to have your photo taken, we will be inviting you to send us a photo. We will send you the specifications regarding that photo so that you will appear on the screen and your name will be called because you will be participating in the graduation ceremony. Manal, does that answer?
I think so.
Just to add to that,
yes.
we unfortunately, we don't have an open campus site in Guyana. And so the Guyanese students would have to, or persons that are resident in Guyana that belong to our campus would have to explore the option of sending the digital photo. We will be making arrangements similar to how you're making the arrangements to get the certificate, mail out the certificate. We will be making arrangements to get the canister and the memorabilia to the graduating class.
Thank you. We had an earlier question. I don't want to forget it. So let me go to it before we proceed. And it was about my student type status has not changed to graduated. Who can I contact about this?
Yes, so I can take that for now. So students are awarded by their faculties, and how this process occurs, a pass list is sent to the examination section, and based on your pass list, we would then change your status to graduated. So I think that you can start by contacting your faculty. However, if you feel comfortable, you can email us at exams and we will follow up on your behalf regarding your graduation status. Yes?
Okay, and I trust my colleagues are putting the email addresses in the chat so that you can take note of it. Another call, Nadia, from our other Caribbean islands. We have a call for specifics about pics and gowns, etc. From the other Caribbean islands. Can you share some more about that? If I'm from Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, what am I to do? Maybe a step-by-step process?
Yes, so the step one is to contact your awarding campus. Your awarding campus will then provide details. If you are at an open campus site, there will be photo centers set up through open campus, and you would be given information from your awarding campus. Your awarding campus will send information onto open campus. Open campus will then advise you about how you access the photo center and the academic regalia at their open campus photo center. Okay, if you are in a landed campus, landed in a country with a landed campus such as Mona, Cave Hill, and St. Augustine. Again, we will be sharing information across the region regarding the list of persons. So once you contact your awarding campus, your listing will be sent to either St. Augustine or Mona campus or the open campus at in Barbados, where again the arrangements will be made for you to access the photo center at these landed campuses and the academic regalia. If you're in a country that unfortunately does not have an open campus photo center, or doesn't have a landed campus, and there's no access to academic regalia and a photo center, we will be asking you to send in an appropriate photo. We will guide you on what that photo, the specifications of that photo, so that we can present you on the screen and call your name. In terms of receiving the canister and other graduation memorabilia, again, we will be mailing that to you if you did not have the opportunity to access it at a photo center, or in our case at St. Augustine, if you don't come to rent the gowns later on in the period, then we will be mailing it to you as registrar indicated.
Thank you, Nadia.
Sure.
Madam Registrar, I want to call on you. I have a concerned student writing, well, graduate, about going for photos today, and was really saddened by the process because they could not get a pic, well, we would say a selfie of themselves in the gown. Now, I know we pivoted and we made adjustments post-graduation for this, and I know that we shared it earlier in the session, but for persons who may have missed it, would you like to share about some of the adjustments we made, Registrar?
Sure, Wanel. So what we've done is that post-graduation, we have arranged for a period where we make gowns available for students to rent for a period of 2 weeks, a week to 2 weeks. We still working out the exact details. So they're able to take photos, take it away, take photos with their friends and family, and return the gowns to us. This, as you know, would be done under very, very strict protocols. We're working out the details, but we are showing you that we're going to make this option available. Then you'd be able to do your selfies, etc. And because we do understand that you want to have this kind of interaction, with your friends and family. Unfortunately, it could not be accommodated at this point in time, and really and truly, I think that the issue is being able to have this access, and there isn't a difference between having the access now and having it then, and when we are able to better plan and better organize over a protracted period, the ability for you to come and rent the gown, take the photos, and return. We also are exploring the possibility of having some sort of photo center or photo area set up there. Again, the details we are working out, but we are showing you that this would be made possible. As you would have noticed when you went for the PIPS, for those of you who went for the PIPS photo already, you had a limited time to get in and out, again, because we're trying to control the numbers, control the interaction, you know, the safety and the concern we have for the safety of students and staff, and the fact that it's really very closely timed in terms of the turnaround, in terms of the exposure, in terms of how long the student goes through the whole process of coming, choosing the gown, putting it on, taking a photo. I think we worked it out to about 7 or 10 minutes, Nadia. And so again, following all safety protocols. And so we hope that the concession that we're making next year would be one that would allow you to have this type of interaction. Yeah.
Thanks, Registrar. And I may have to call on you again because another question or questions I saw in the chat earlier were concerning the faculties and the award ceremonies for the faculties. Are you in a position to share based on what information?
Well, yes, based on the information we have, in fact, we actually discussed it this afternoon in our meeting, as you know. All the faculties have opted for virtual ceremonies, again, understanding the safety issues, understanding the national issues, and not wanting to be in violation of the Public Health Act. So the ceremonies are going to be virtual, and there would be specific information in terms of how faculties will get the prizes to the various students who have been awarded or who have been spotlighted for some sort of achievement. Yeah.
All right, and now I want to throw the mic to the Guild President. We've discussed quite a few areas or topics, and you've heard from the administrators some of the feedback. I know you would have heard some in the graduation meetings and communiques. Anything else that you would like to raise?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Gregorio. There's one, because I'm trying to, I know we have limited time and there's a lot of questions, so I'm trying to focus on the most heated topics, right? The next one that I'm seeing is of a major concern is cost. Some graduates, right, especially those under financial strain, have rationalized in our minds, listen, maybe I would not be able to rent my gown later on, right? I have an opportunity now. I don't have enough money, I'm already under strain, and so maybe I could try out PIPs now and their packages, right? Beyond the $100. But, and more specifically, and there's a gender issue here as well, because women, the females in the group, are spending spending money right now on hair and makeup. So it has been communicated that, listen, Warren, I can't see myself spending that hair and makeup money later on for when I'm able to rent the gown. Is it possible then that I could just take this selfie right now? I just want to be able to snap this picture right now, right? And for some who have said to themselves, well, you know, maybe if we can't take the selfie, I could take the PIPS package. But the problem is the packages are too expensive. The comparisons have been done, right? And the group is saying the packages are way too expensive and they cannot come to terms with why the cost is so high for a digital photo, one digital photo, right? And I even have to wait a long time to receive the photo for the $100. So in no way can I celebrate this one moment. I have on this gown and I went down today and I've seen the emotion behind having on the gown, coming so close. And, you know, I already can't see the photo right now. It's an emotional time for me. I've exhausted all the money that I have in doing my hair and my makeup. And I'm so close. I put on this gown now and I have no evidence, nothing to celebrate right now. You know, some people were really emotional about it. So the question is about the cost, because some people feel trapped that I can't repeat the spending on hair and makeup. So I want to get as much of the experience right now. So I want to take a selfie at least and enjoy the gown, but also I might want to explore PIPs, but the prices are so high and I can't see myself repeating the cost. So if we could just get some answers on what could be done about the cost of the service provider, with the understanding that this is the only service provider that I could use right now to access the gowns, and I cannot do this repeat cost later on, right? Some are in favor of deferring, and some have even said, well, if I knew that, you know, rental of the gowns would have been deferred, I would have waited instead of spending the split money, because people are watching their pocket. It's COVID. Plenty people are asking around for money, asking for contributions here and there. So people are looking at this thing and trying to get as much of the experience now without having the crossing of the stage and that kind of thing. We understand we're limited, but in terms of the money and in terms of this exorbitant cost for these PIPS packages where I feel trapped to use, what is the response on this? And is there anything that the administration can do? Any kind of prompts to the service provider and anything at all that could be done to make these prices more justifiable, or to alter the experience where I could take a selfie and enjoy some semblance of this thing right now, because it is so emotional and people are really going through it with their pockets. We understand the savings and that kind of thing, but what are the responses to being able to take the selfie right now to enjoy some part of the experience, and the packages that I'm limited to taking now that are very, very expensive?
Okay, thank you for the follow-on comments and questions. I know a lot of it will lead back to the managing the risk and the safety, but I want to give the campus registrar an opportunity to answer it in full. Registrar, just to remind, the questions are around the photography costs as well as the experience with the selfies and enjoying the moment in the now, as opposed to deferred because of the cost of put out for hair and makeup, etc.
And
yes, thank you. Now, for those of us who, and some students may not know this, but when we have a physical graduation ceremony, this is exactly what happens. Students come and they take a physical, they go and they take their portrait, and then they arrange for at the physical graduation ceremony, the same service provider will take photos there. At the physical ceremony, and so therefore there's always been a two-tiered approach. With respect to the service provider, and this is just to re-emphasize that at this point in time, we have this one service provider, and so the packages that he's offering is in line with what is usually offered over the last couple of years. We understand the concern in terms of the cost of preparing for such a photo, and we do recognize that there may be some need to have this type of interaction, and that's why we asked. We came up with another scenario which would allow the student to have that type of interaction in a more managed way, in a space where we properly set up and we properly prepare over a prolonged period in terms of allowing students to have this interaction. And I assure you that once we say, or once we let you know exactly all the plans that we have in place, there would be some sort of appreciation in terms of how it is we plan to move and the direction we plan to move in with respect to allowing students this type of interaction post the graduation period, when we are able to manage it better. Mrs. Gregory, I'm trying to remember the other question. Did it relate to what was the other question?
Enjoying the moment and enjoying the whole moment in the present, and not having to defer it for post ceremony to redo makeup and redo hair.
Okay, and so as I said, it's something that unfortunately we're not able to make a major adjustment right now. And as I said, we're looking at all the options to allow you to interact and to have this experience once we're able to properly set up and manage a photo space and a rental facility with respect to the gowns post just after the graduation ceremonies.
Okay, there's a follow-on question from the Guild president, and it's around the Mona campus being able to get their pics right after and to do what the students are asking. I know that each campus is managing the pandemic in a different way. For example, as we noted earlier, Cave Hill is having a live or face-to-face ceremony, and each campus, because they have different national protocols, they are managing it differently. But you may want to answer it specifically about Mona campus and Mona students being afforded the opportunity to get their pics right after and portray the pics, and the St. Augustine students not able to do so.
Well, Mrs. Gloria, I would want to actually throw that question right back at you. I know you were very intimately involved in the setup and advising with Mona, with all the campuses. So I don't know if you could shed some light or address that directly, because I know there are also different concerns in terms of the timing of the photos. And I'm not quite sure that the Mona campus, in terms of the setup that they have, whether it's similar to what we have in terms of the releasing of the photos and even the service provider. And my understanding, and between you and Nadia, you can correct me, is that they are following a similar protocol as we are.
Yeah, so the system is set up differently, where we and I'll probably ask Chanel to give a quick rundown, because I saw a question earlier about the digital photo and I don't think we answered the question. So I would call on Chanel to be specific about the digital photo and how it's needed in the production. I think our campus is focused a lot on the output, the end product, which is the production value of the ceremonies. And for that, we really needed to get a high quality digital photo. And we also wanted to almost put a lot of emphasis and a lot of pomp and ceremony around the graduation days in early January. Hence the reason why our photos would be, I don't want to say held back, but they will be saved for that moment in January when we do cross the virtual stage. And what we also wanted to do was to have some sort of experience around that time, which is why we're doing a post-ceremony stage to afford the opportunities for the selfies and for the experience with family, etc. And we want to have a photo booth and all of that. So it's a matter of timing, I suppose. And one of the other things we talked about even doing is doing a virtual session for the ladies, doing makeup and hair, and even giving some advice and doing some sessions with the females, especially about that. So that's something that we're doing differently to the Mona campus. Now, in terms of the digital photograph and why it's, sorry?
No, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, in terms of the digital photograph, we had a question earlier. If I don't have a digital photo, will I still be included in the graduation ceremonies? And what is the role of the photo? So I wanted to ask Chanel Glasgow to give us just a brief idea of what it really entails, because she's the one managing the event behind the scenes with the production company and pulling it all together. And as we talk about it, it's different parts that have to be stitched together as a major production. So I don't know if I can ask her to share and answer that digital photo question as well.
Before Chanel gets on, just to say that the whole flow of students coming through to take that photos, to be able to participate in the virtual ceremony is very, very tightly timed. Like I said, everything that we did with precision. We had Osh involved in terms of looking at the layout, in terms of the flow, in terms of the timing, to keep it down to 7 to 10 minutes. And so while we understand the different requests, the it will further delay the whole process if we allow for different variations in terms of the interaction at the venue right now, at the photo space right now.
So it goes back to the safety element and that being of paramount importance.
That is our paramount importance, and even every single thing that we do, every single thing and every single decision that we make. Yeah. So Chanel, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, Chanel.
No problem, Registrar. Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good evening. With regards to the digital photo, just to clarify a little bit, the virtual online celebration that we are producing, to be able to essentially participate in that, yes, we are asking that you take a virtual, a digital photo. For those that are going to the PIPs and taking up the PIP service, that is essentially what your photo is going to be used for the production, to have a virtual crossing of the stage essentially, where your name will appear on screen next to your photo, as well as the degree that you're being awarded. With regards to those we would have addressed, that's why we are asking those who do not have access to a photo center to please email us, because we are still trying to accommodate all our students, because this online ceremony is essentially your celebration, and we do want to ensure that we include you. So that's why we would have asked that you participate by sending in your virtual photo if you are not able to access one of the photo centers. With regards to those who are asking if you do not take a photo, if your name will not appear on screen, I would want to find out why, if there's a challenge that you are not able to share a photo, because we are putting arrangements in place to be able to either facilitate you at a photo center, or if you do not have access to a photo center because you are actually at a regional site that does not have a photo center, an open campus site, or you are outside of the region and international, we are still trying to make provisions for you. So I hope that clarifies a little bit, and if we are still unclear, certainly we can address it again. Over to you,
Ms.
moderator.
Glasgow. Very, very comprehensive, and I know you've been working very hard on this and planning in the background. I am looking in the chat, and I know we have concerns still. Mr. Anderson, I don't know if you want to share. I don't know if you're looking at the chat, if you're seeing it, but I know that you did not finish earlier as well. You want to continue?
Yes, certainly. Thanks for the opportunity. I think I'll use this chance to just emphasize really that I think the call for the ability to interact with everything now is something to take into consideration. I could certainly appreciate, wanting to wait on the final production and the presentation, but we're being informed that the Mona campus has, edited and released their photos now, and I think we have some low-hanging fruit that could possibly be examined in terms of the ability to take the selfies now, and the release of the photos being emailed and that kind of thing. So I really want to make an extra prompt for it, because it seems like two simple things that could really help ease a lot of the anxiety right now. I know that, with all the effort going into the production and that kind of thing, the wait for the production in the end has a lot of value. And that is something that it should be exciting for many. But I think that there's merit in a compromise here in not waiting for the full production and just allowing graduates to have the piece of the experience right now, to get those photos emailed out as soon as possible, as soon as they're edited, and to be able to take those selfies. I know it will kind of spoil the surprise, but give one everything and give one the ask by the graduates. It is worth considering, And I would make a plea here at this town hall for the graduation committee to really move towards making that compromise, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the experience. And if this is a part of the experience that the graduates want in terms of interacting now, I think it is worth going in that direction. The only other thing I would focus on now, I know there are a lot of questions. Some of the questions are not, let me just see. Most of the questions are around price and the options, and people are saying that, you know, we're still not able to wait on this thing. And if PIPS is our only option, we want some kind of negotiation with PIPS where they could come down. We know these are the prices that have been there ever since, right? And there's a respect for that and an appreciation for that. But if something could be worked out now so that students can meet it given the economic circumstances, that would be appreciated, but only given the fact that the graduation gowns, the regalia cannot be rented now. So I would just make an extra prompt fit, right? Everything else, I think, I know there are other questions and every question is important to everybody, but I think the two main things are the cost and also the cost of gowns. That's another question that's coming up. What would it look like? What would it look like? So thank you very much.
Cost of gowns for rental, or can you clarify that? In terms of what will it look like? You mean for January, for post ceremony?
Hold on. Yes, the ceremony for coming, what the rental of gowns would look like. But before I get there, right, because my style is really to engage what's going on now. And I'm seeing Guyana. I love you and we're not missing you, right? It's just a lot of questions. I'm having a hard time prompting now. So right now, Sidonia Hamilton, I'm looking at you. Pose the question right now, please. Sidonia only. Sidonia, I'm hearing you. Pose the question right now. Pose the question. I can't see the question, so I cannot address it.
This
right?
is outside of what we addressed earlier for the Guyana students.
They have a new question that they feel like they are being missed. So I really want the opportunity to address it now.
Sure.
Right? And that's it for me. I think we had enough focus on Trinidad, and if we could just get this one for Guyana and give that platform right now. I think Sidonia is framing the question, is the possibility of having gowns mailed and returned to Guyana being explored? So I'm hoping that's the question, right?
Okay,
and all right, so
thanks. And I noted the other ones that you had earlier. And I know that earlier our AR answered the question regarding the canisters and the process for regional students, and we had students from Guyana specifically. So now I want to call on the AR again to answer these specific questions. I'm not sure, Nadia?
Sure, yes. So the question is about mailing gowns out to Guyana. And Registrar, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but maybe we can explore doing an arrangement, putting an arrangement in place with the University of Guyana where we host some exams there and perhaps mailing our gowns to the University of Guyana and making arrangements for photos to be taken. This is what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure that we can email our gowns out to individual graduates. Yes?
I'm pretty sure that will be that may be a difficult endeavor in terms of mailing it to individual graduates.
Yes.
It will, well, I shouldn't say difficult. It'll be a pretty expensive endeavor.
Yes.
Because it will mean renting it for a prolonged period, because it wouldn't just be a matter of mailing it. There'll be issues of insurance. The gowns are pretty expensive asset. And so there'll be a number of things that we have to put in place to get it to the students.
But registrar and graduates, we of course will continue the process we had in place for persons who are at a camp at an island country without a photo center, without access to gowns, that we will in fact ask you to send in your photos so that you can participate in the ceremony.
Okay.
I think, Chair, if you don't mind.
Sure, Principal, welcome.
I think we could explore the University of Guyana option. I posted it in the discussion. We have a relationship with them for delivery, and we've been increasing our conversation with them. Without raising anybody's hopes, I mean, who knows, maybe next 5 years, University of Ghana will be part of UE as it originally was, I don't know. But we could explore that option. I don't think we could make a commitment now. We could explore it and get back to those who are in Ghana or in other territories where we may have a relationship with a university there to do it. But I understand why we can't be mailing it out individually. That is another nightmare. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Principal. So you do have a commitment from the university administration to explore and look into the possibility of these areas. Thank you to the Guild President for raising and reiterating the concerns of the students. I think, I don't know if the registrar wants to sort of close us off with reminding the students of any specific things they need to be, you know, cognizant of. Your mic is muted, registrar. Sorry.
Sorry about that. We're hearing you. We understand the issue of being able to interact with the gowns. We understand the issue of taking selfies. We understand the issue of wanting to take photos with your friends and family. These are and based on that, and based on us wanting you all to have as good an experience as possible, we have committed to having a session or having a setup just after graduation in January, where you're able to come in, you can rent the gowns, take them away. It will give us some time to properly put arrangements in place in terms of safety, in terms of all the protocols. It is not, and I want to explain and want to reemphasize that it's not just a matter of I've put on the gown, I've self-serviced, I've thrown it on, and I've taken a photo, I want to take it away. It's not as simple as that. We are understanding what is happening, understanding the safety protocols, understanding that even the setup in spec was very closely timed in terms of how we got students in and out, keeping it at 10 minutes max, understanding the safety protocols. We had OSH involved, we had discussions with faculties, and so it was very much a scientific endeavor in terms of managing that space at this present point in time. We are looking at, when we set up in January, what other things we can do to enhance the experience. So for example, we were thinking, and all these things we were talking through, can we set up a small stage with flags where students could probably interact in a very controlled way in that space, and possibly even instead of there are two options. We have one where you could take the gown away, or one where you come and you utilize the gown at that point in time. But again, students, I'm saying to you, all of this and all these decisions that we made was bearing your safety in mind, and the national protocols, the public health protocols, and what as responsible citizens, what as a responsible university administration we can do to ensure that there's an experience. And I'm sure as responsible graduates, as responsible future leaders, you'd want us to work along this vein in terms of making this experience not only a memorable one, given the circumstances, and we know it is a tough circumstance, but one that is safe and one that is memorable as being not an event that is considered or that is in hindsight was considered a high risk event or was linked with some sort of super spreader event. We are cognizant of all of these things, and we want to ensure that we act responsibly and that we put things in place to ensure that come next year, given time to better put the arrangements in place, hopefully there'll be some, and as Professor Carrington said, that, there'll be, even if there's some relaxing, it will not be one where you can have hundreds of persons coming in at any one point in time. We will do it over a longer period. We'd have the opportunity to either rent, take away, interact with your friends and family, take your own photos, or you can opt to interact in a very controlled way with the setup that we plan to do there, which will be a mini stage of sorts, and able to interact and take your selfies, your photos there in a very, very confined, controlled environment. And so that is exactly what it is we are putting in place. And as I said, it'll kick off just after graduation in January.
Thank you, Registrar. And
the arrangements with respect to regional and international students.
Registrar?
Yes, the arrangements with respect to regional and international students. Are you hearing me?
No, yes, you can proceed. We lost you, Registrar. Are you there? Registrar?
Okay, I said the arrangements with respect to international, regional, and local, and international regional students. The AR examinations would have spoken to that at length. Just to re-emphasize, if you're graduating from the Mona campus, you write to the Mona campus, and you're resident in Trinidad, you write to the Mona campus and you say that you're interested in having your photo, etc., taken in St. Augustine, at the St. Augustine campus, and they will send your details to us. If you are graduating from the Cave Hill campus and from the Open campus, well, from the Cave Hill campus, similarly. If you're a resident in Jamaica or Barbados, and you are graduating from the St. Augustine campus, you email us. We will prepare a list and we will send it to the country where you are currently resident. If you're a resident in a campus in a country without a landed campus, that's one of the OECS countries, we will make arrangements to send your name to the Open campus, who will get in contact with you and tell you what what site you have to go to, and what are the arrangements with respect to photography, etc. Those are the arrangements that we have in place for the regional students. For the international students, where admittedly we don't have sites across the globe, we will arrange for you to send in a digital photo of yourself, give you the specifications, and that is how you participate in the graduation ceremony. Yeah, I hope it's clearer.
Thank you, Registrar. I think you reiterated all the salient points, and I think it's a lot clearer. And I know that the principal wanted to take us out. So I now call on Professor Brian Copeland to share a few words.
Right, thank you, Manal, and thank you to everyone who has been involved in this discussion. Thank you for those on YouTube who are listening in and sending in your comments, which we are listening to. We will be going over those comments to see what other adjustments we can make. I just needed to just reiterate what Rajesh and Professor Carrington and the campus registrar stated. This is a matter of safety. We are in a world war with an invisible foe, and it's one that's waiting around the corner for us to make the wrong step. That's how dangerous it is. It's interesting to note, it's happened so long ago, I had to ask, the very first case we had in Trinidad, case 1 or case 0, or what they call it, was somebody who had a very close affiliation with UE. Very first one. And we've had several cases since that have come up. We have been sending staff home on quarantine. And I mean, even with UE thinly populated as it is, we've had to face all of this. We have made cases for students to attend labs. We've had to defer laboratory exercises, make all kinds of arrangements, switch around courses that have lab components into semester 2, hoping that semester 2 would be better. It is actually straining staff and straining our resources to make sure that we keep on delivering on our mandate to educate the population for a future that is very, very uncertain. In the case of labs, even though the last pronouncement of the Prime Minister indicated that there could be a return to lab, and that, by the way, is because we had kept asking and asking and asking. There are conditions that must be followed. We have to follow protocols. So we haven't actually been able to get the students back into labs as yet, because we have to ensure that every step from entering campus to doing temperature checks, making sure they go straight to the lab, and as soon as the lab is finished, get back out. No gathering, putting GFK off limits. All of that is being done. It is not easy. And I can tell you the staff are quite strained. I have to repeat that. We are still doing some sign-off and negotiations with respect to clinicals for those on medical sciences. And we managed to get a little bit of reprieve with respect to the DM exam. The medical sciences have it particularly hard. Nobody's using the halls. So we are actually losing them. We have staff sitting down who should be on halls, and they're wondering what their future will be like. So understand that it is it's tough on your end. It's tough on our end as well, because we are here to make sure that UE is here post-COVID. And in fact, post-COVID, this university has to transform to a university that is far different than it is now. That is to make sure we keep on delivering on that mandate. The region will be challenged to survive more than ever before. COVID has just made it worse, but it also showed us where our gaps are. We're trying to plug those gaps with our colleagues in government and in parallel institutions. So I had to say that so you could understand why it is we're taking some of these actions, why it is it seems like we're taking extra cautious. It's not that we don't care about you, it's actually because we care about you. We've had an interesting story from the Minister of Health. His daughter, I think some of you would have heard it, his daughter's a doctor, I think in the UK. And she cited the case of an older gentleman who passed. Well, he got the COVID going to his granddaughter's birthday party. All right. And so it was sad. I mean, think of you probably can't even tell the granddaughter that's how the grandfather passed. This thing is serious. And as I said, it's like an enemy, it's invisible, and it's waiting for us to make a misstep. We're trying to make sure you are here to deliver post-COVID, because your contribution will be required at that time. We have a nation to grow, we have a region to grow. That is what we are about. So in the meantime, we know that you have to celebrate. Unfortunately, it's under these circumstances. And I hope that you do understand and that we can work together to some sort of common sort of understanding of how we have to do this. So with that, should I pass back to you or wish everyone good night? I'm not sure.
I can close. Yeah. I have a close principle. Thank you for those sobering words. And graduates, to wrap up this session, I just want to reiterate that we do want to have a good experience. We do want wonderful graduation ceremonies. We do want to enjoy it with you. But the controls are really because of the COVID-19 and really trying to minimize the time and the contact in the space. So it may seem like it's just a selfie, but it's really about the volume of students in the time frame and in the space constraints. And so we have to manage all those things and balance all those things. So we will continue to communicate with you through the campus registrar. Continue to look at your emails, your official UE emails, and we will share more as the time progresses. I know we have some FAQs to share as well. And as we bring today's session to a close, I want to really thank you for being with us this evening. It has been a pleasure to be your host. Know that we are working together to make your graduation the memorable experience that you deserve. Please stay well, please stay safe, and we look forward to celebrating with you in January. Good night.
Good night, Manal. Thank you.